WebAssign 2, question 3. Students, in this question they're asking us to do some simple calculations, but to answer to the correct number of significant figures. In order to do that, you need to keep in mind the rules for working with significant figures. When multiplying or dividing, the rule is that you state your answer to the number of significant figures that's equal to the lowest number of significant figures of any of the measurements you were working with. So in problem A, the first number, 0.102, has 3 significant figures. 0.0821, 3 significant figures as well. The 0 that's after the decimal is a placeholder 0. 273 has 3 significant figures. 1.01 has also 3 significant figures. So in that first problem, all of the numbers have the same number of significant figures, so your answer can be to that number of significant figures, which would be 3 of them. On my calculator, when I plug that in, I get 2.263521 something something. But you would round that 2.263521 ... to just 2.26. In the next problem, problem B, 0.22 has 2 significant figures. 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd has 4 significant figures. The exponent times 10 to the 23rd does not affect the count of significant figures. So we've got 2 and 4. You'd have to round your answer to just 2 significant figures. So on my calculator, when I make that multiplication, I get 1.324 something something times 10 to the 23rd. If I need to round that to 2 significant figures, I'd state that as just 1.3 times 10 to the 23rd. The way to write that in WebAssign, a quick way to write that, is just a 1.3 and then hit the lowercase e and then the number 23. On your calculator, you'll have an e button sometimes that shows up. That means times 10 to the. So here's what I would type into your answer box. Also, students, your red numbers may differ from mine. That's part of WebAssign, is to randomize the numbers. So don't be surprised if the problems I'm working out here will have different answers than yours. That's totally fine. The only difference is that you're going to be punching in different numbers on your calculator. Okay, on to part C. 4.0 times 10 to the 4th, 2 sig figs. 5.740, that's 4 sig figs because the 0 that's at the end of the number is not a placeholder. It has no mathematical significance. It's showing us instead the precision of the instrument that was used to make the measurement. And then lastly, 7.34993, that's actually 6 significant figures. When you multiply these, on my calculator I'm getting 1687.54 something something something. But you have to round it. Even though one of your measurements had 6 significant figures, it's got to get rounded to the lowest number of significant figures of any of the measurements. So that's down to 2 sig figs. So 1687 rounds to 1700. If you wanted to avoid the ambiguity of the zeros in the 1700, because sometimes you have to assume that they're not significant, and in this case we mean that, but you could also write it in scientific notation as 1.7 times 10 to the 3rd. Last problem, part D. We have 5.00 times 10 to the 6th, that's 3 significant figures, and 3.00 times 10 to the negative 7th. On your calculator, you'll get 1.666666 times 10 to the 13th. We have to round it to 3 significant figures, so that would round to 1.67 times 10 to the 13th. The way to write that in WebAssign, quick easy way, is to just put 1.67, a lowercase e, and then the number 13 for a nice easy way to do that.